to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Alicia, and we're going to take a look today at my reading journal. So for those of you who are new here, in September, I started a new hobby where I wanted to get back into reading physical books. So this is how I am keeping track of that hobby. Here you see I have some reading goals and a book bingo. All of these things were inspired by BookTube and BookTok. On this page, I plan to put the covers of the 25 books I'm going to read in 2025. And here are just some books that I already have that I plan to read. Recording my yearly stats is just going to give me some data for my progress as a reader. And then this is quarter one. So quarter one for me started the end of September, and that's going to go through the end of December. But I don't have enough space on this page for the calendar for December. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to put it on my December cover page. But let's move into September. I read 5 physical books. I bought 13 books. I didn't listen to any audiobooks in September, and so I read a total of 5 books. Now, I am not going to be giving like an in-depth review of every book. Some books I just put a quote from the book. Some books I just have pictures. It's more of a scrapbook vibe in my book, but those books that I got, I felt like were truly vibes. Those books will have a full page or even a quarter page review. Okay, October, we read 6 physical books, and I started listening to my Audible library again because one of my reading goals is to finish my Audible library. So I listened for 4 hours because I began to finish Jennifer Lewis's memoir book, and then I read 6 physical books. I bought a total of 5 books, and so I read a total of 6 books because I finished all 6 of my physical books, and I did not finish the Audible book of Jennifer Lewis's memoir, so that rolled over into November. I'm showing you my first 5-star book, and that is Mexican Gothic. I saw this book in Barnes & Noble, and then I didn't purchase it, and my sister actually had a copy of it. So I got the copy from her, and this book was chef's kiss, y'all. I'm not going to do this for every book. I'm not going to go through every book, but I just wanted to show you that this book was so good. It was my first 5-star book, and I'm rating my books based off of the vibes and how I felt and how much I think about the material after finishing the book. So on this page, you can see the last 5 books that I read in October. And on this page, you can see I didn't do a review or anything like that. I'm a Harry Potter stan, has been one since my adolescence. So rereading these was just for fun and to fill in a spot on my bingo board. Then I read The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. I read Malus, and I also read The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. All of these books were chef's kiss. I love the vibes. I enjoyed reading them. I thought about them days on end after finishing each one. So in November, I kind of put the spooky, the thrillers, all of those types of books away, and I started reading a lot more fantasy and historical fiction books in November. I am a history buff thanks to my parents. They both love documentaries, history, things like that. So I love watching documentaries, crime series. So it was only right that I read a few of these in books. I did most of my reading through Audible this month of November, so I listened to 6 complete Audible books. Well, not 6. I finished a couple of books that I had started. So I finished the Jennifer Lewis memoir, and I also finished 2 books that I already had. Then I listened to The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and I also listened to Scarred, the fantasy thriller book for the Never After series. Those 2 books resonate so much in my mind. I still think about them now in December as I'm recording this voiceover. They just left my mind like, whoa. I will reread those books again and again. I actually need to go and purchase Scarred so I can read it and not just listen to it. And same for The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. So as I was updating my yearly stats and trying to record it, I realized that I don't have the proper equipment to record while I do my scrapbooking in my journal. So I'm only going to show you a couple of pages that I recorded while updating it, and then I'll just show you the pages and the layouts for the books that I read after I completed them, because it just wasn't working, me trying to record and do it at the same time. So here we have the completed November covers. So this is the first month where I'm actually adding the book covers along with my stats. So I read 10 books, a total of, I think I listened to 6 audiobooks, and then I read 4 physical books. My total hours came to 51 audio hours, and then I bought 6 books, not the 6 that I read. I also started this November Holy Girl Challenge that I saw on YouTube, where we were reading the book of Romans. I didn't highlight all of the chapters that I finished, but I finished more than the 4 that you saw. And then, of course, my 5-star books got a full page layout for the scrapbooking, and I did write a couple of things that stood out to me. So a quote and just my summary of how I felt once I concluded the book for The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And on the right side, we have Scarred, which is kind of like a villain origin story, or a villain winning story. I don't know what you would call it, but the villain wins in the Never After series. Then we have The Silvered Serpents, which is part of the Gilded Wolves series that I'm reading by Roshani Choska. I hope I'm saying her last name right. And that book, once again, the vibes, it just left me feeling like, oh my goodness, I have to read the last book. I also read Lady Tan's Circle of Women. I listened to that on audiobook. And finish Jennifer Lewis's memoir. On these 2 pages, I just stuck the book covers with some other like bookish photos because I didn't do a review of them. 2 of them were gardening books. 2 of them were audio books that I wanted to finish that have to do with like feminism and religion. So this is November. And then there was one book that I read like the last week of November that I kind of just threw it in there, and it was because the author made me read it and I wanted to fill that in for my bingo. But that's all for this vlog, you guys. Sorry about my voice cracking. I'll see you in the next Vlogmas. Bye.